Okay, so you know how sometimes like learning a new language can just feel like such a chore?
Yeah.
Like you're stuck with textbooks
Yeah.
and memorizing all those verb conjugations and stuff,
Oh, it's just so dry.
and it all feels like so dry.
Yes.
But like what if I told you there was like a fun way to learn English
Yeah, okay.
and that it felt more like catching up with old friends?
Hmm. I'm listening.
Today, we're diving into a really fascinating approach that uses the sitcom Friends to teach English.
Wow.
I know, right?
That sounds, well, it sounds almost too good to be true.
I know.
But, there's actual science behind why this approach works so well. So
Oh,
think about it.
yeah.
When you're emotionally engaged, like when you're laughing along with your favorite characters,
Uh-huh.
your brain is like primed for learning.
Oh, interesting.
You remember things better, because they're tied to those feelings.
So it's not just about entertainment.
Right.
It's about making the learning process like actually stick.
Exactly.
Oh,
On
wow.
Friends, with its, relatable characters and everyday scenarios,
Oh, mm-hmm.
it provides the perfect context
Hmm.
for learning natural conversational English.
Okay.
It's like having a group of friends showing you the ropes,
Yeah.
rather than like a stuffy professor just lecturing at you.
That's a really good point. So this is starting to sound less like a language course and more like a binge watching session.
Right.
But tell me, how does it actually work?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Our source material for this deep dive is actually an outline for an English course,
Hmm.
and it's called The One with English Fluency, a Friends-inspired language course.
Wow, that's a mouthful.
I know, right?
Okay.
Um, but it seems like this course goes like beyond just, watching the episodes.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. You're right. It's not just about passive watching.
Okay.
This course it systematically breaks down like the episodes
Mm.
to highlight key language elements.
Okay.
So, from vocabulary and grammar to like even cultural nuances.
Uh-huh.
It's really about using the show as like a springboard to understand
Yeah.
how English is actually spoken in real life situations.
That's a huge point. So many language courses focus on like textbook English,
Yeah.
but knowing how to actually navigate like a conversation
Yeah.
at Central Perk, that's a whole different like ball game.
It is. It is. And that's where Friends really shines.
Right.
It's full of like those everyday phrases and idioms and slang and textbooks often miss those things.
Yeah.
But here you're learning them organically in the context of a hilarious scene.
Right.
So you not only understand the meaning, but you also get a feel for how and when to use them yourself.
Oh, that's really cool. Okay, I'm officially intrigued.
Great.
Can we take a pic inside the course?
Absolutely. Let's focus on the pilot episode, the one where Monica gets a roommate.
Ooh, classic. I can already picture it. Rachel running into Central Perk in her wedding dress.
Oh, it's iconic.
It's so iconic.
And a gold mine for language learning.
Ooh.
So think about it. You have introductions,
Uh-huh.
basic greetings,
Yeah.
descriptions of people and places,
Okay.
all sorts of vocabulary related to relationships, work, daily life.
Yeah.
Even Monica's apartment like becomes a learning tool,
Okay. Yeah.
with all those furniture and household items just ripe for vocabulary building.
So instead of just memorizing a list of words for like couch and coffee table,
Right, right.
you're actually seeing them like used in a natural setting.
Yes,
I bet that makes them way easier to remember.
exactly. And the course doesn't stop there.
Oh.
It provides interactive exercises
Right.
like matching character descriptions,
Mhm.
answering comprehension questions about the episode,
Yeah.
and even filling in the blanks in dialogues.
Ooh.
It's about getting you, actively involved with the language.
Isn't there a risk though that learners might get like so caught up in the storyline that
Mhm.
they kind of miss the learning points?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
The course designers, they've cleverly addressed it.
Oh, good.
They structure the activities to ensure that learners are paying attention
Yeah.
to the specific language elements.
Okay.
It's not just about, enjoying the show.
Yeah.
It's about actively using it as a learning tool.
So it's like having your cake and eating it too.
Exactly.
You get to enjoy a great show
Right.
and you get to learn English along the way.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And speaking of the course designers,
Yeah.
the creator, Liana, she is a seasoned ESL teacher
Oh, wow.
with over 20 years of experience.
Oh, wow. Okay.
She's clearly, passionate about making language learning
Yeah.
engaging and accessible.
That experience really shows in how the course is structured.
Yeah.
It's not just about like throwing episodes at you.
Right.
It's about carefully guiding you through the language learning process.
Yes.
But I have to ask,
Sure.
even with the best design,
Yeah.
isn't there a risk that learners might get a little overwhelmed
Oh.
with all the new information? Like Friends is fast-paced and
Uh-huh.
full of like witty dialogue.
Uh-huh.
How do you make sure that everyone can kind of keep up,
Yeah.
regardless of like their language level?
That's where Liana's expertise really shines.
Okay.
The course materials are incredibly detailed,
Oh, good.
providing, transcripts,
Uh-huh.
vocabulary lists, grammar explanations,
Uh-huh.
and a variety of interactive exercises.
Right.
This means, it can be tailored for different levels.
Oh, that's good.
So beginners, they can focus on the basic vocabulary and
Yeah.
sentence structure,
Uh-huh.
while more advanced learners,
Yeah.
they can dive into the nuances of idioms
Right.
and cultural references. It's like having your own personal friend's language tutor.
That's fantastic. But I'm still curious about the specifics.
Okay.
Let's say you're trying to teach something like phrasal verbs,
Mhm.
which can be like really tricky for English learners.
Yeah, they are.
How would the course tackle that using an episode of Friends?
Okay, let's take the scene where Ross is heartbroken after his divorce,
Okay.
and he says, I just want to curl up and die.
Yeah.
That's a powerful visual right there.
Definitely.
And perfect for illustrating the phrasal verb curl up,
Yeah.
which means, to get into a small, comfortable position.
Right, right.
Exactly. The course would break down like the scene,
Uh-huh.
explain the meaning of curl up,
Yeah.
and then offer exercises
Good.
to help learners use it in different contexts.
Mm.
It's about moving beyond, textbook definitions and seeing the language in action.
So you're not just like learning the words,
Yeah.
you're learning how to actually use them like a native speaker.
Exactly.
I'm starting to see how powerful this approach can be.
Yeah.
But Friends also has like a lot of humor, which
Yeah.
can be really culturally specific.
Yeah, for sure.
How does the course help learners understand those jokes and references?
That's a crucial aspect. And the course doesn't shy away from it.
Okay.
It uses those moments to teach
Uh-huh.
not just vocabulary,
Right.
but also the cultural context behind the humor.
Oh, that's important.
Think of it like this. The course is giving you like the inside jokes,
Uh-huh.
the cultural decoder ring.
Yeah.
You need to truly understand this show.
That's so important.
I loved
It's not enough to just like know the words. You need to understand the cultural nuances
Yeah.
to really get the humor.
Absolutely. And that's where Friends, with its depiction of, life in New York City,
Yeah.
dating, friendships, all those relatable moments,
Yeah.
it becomes like a valuable cultural guide.
So it's like learning English and getting a crash course in American culture,
Yes.
all rolled into one.
Precisely.
Oh.
And by tapping into something enjoyable and relatable,
Mhm.
the course makes the learning process less daunting
Yeah.
and more engaging. It's about finding the joy in learning.
You know, it's funny because I used to think that learning a language had to be like serious business,
Uh-huh.
all about like discipline and hard work.
Yeah.
But this approach almost makes it feel like,
Well, like hanging out with friends.
and that's the key, isn't it? When you're having fun
Uh-huh.
and connecting with the material. Yeah.
Learning becomes less of a chore
Right.
and more of a pleasure.
This is like blowing my mind.
Hold up.
I can't wait to like dive deeper into how the course tackles like
Yeah.
specific grammar points,
Okay.
our vocabulary.
Yeah.
Using those iconic scenes and dialogues.
I think you'll be surprised at just how much you can learn from a show you might already love.
Yeah.
Welcome back. I'm excited to kind of dig into some specific examples of how this Friends English course like brings those language lessons to life.
Yeah, I'm all ears. We left off talking about how the course tackles things like, phrasal verbs
Right.
and cultural humor. What other tricks does it have up its sleeve?
Well, let's talk grammar.
Okay.
Remember that scene in the pilot where Monica is, shall we say, enthusiastically tidying her apartment
Yeah.
while Rachel tries to, like, adjust.
Oh, absolutely. It's classic Monica with
That.
lines like, "I need to clean. It's the only thing that keeps me sane."
Yeah. The course, it cleverly uses that scene to teach, like, the present simple tense.
Okay.
Monica's constant cleaning, you know,
Yeah.
and Rachel's less rigorous approach to housework. They illustrate how we use this tense for habits, routines, and facts about the world.
So instead of just being told the rule,
Right.
you're seeing it played out in this like hilarious and memorable way.
Exactly. And then the course takes it like a step further, you know, with exercises.
Oh, okay.
Maybe you have to pick out verbs in the present simple from the dialogue,
Oh.
or even write your own sentences about Monica and Rachel's cleaning styles.
That's smart. It gets you thinking about the grammar point actively, not
Right.
just like passively absorbing it.
Right. And this approach works for so many other grammar concepts too.
Okay.
Think about conditional sentences, those if this then that structures.
Uh-huh.
The show is full of like what if moments.
Right.
Like when Rachel considers going back to Barry.
Or when Ross contemplates what his life would be like if he hadn't, gotten married in the first place.
Perfect examples. The course could use those scenes to like break down how conditional sentences work, showing learners how to express possibilities and hypothetical situations.
It's like those scenes were like tailor-made for grammar lessons.
I know, right?
But what about expanding vocabulary? Friends is known for its, witty banter and
Yes.
and quick-paced dialogue.
It is.
How do you pull out those key vocabulary words without like overwhelming learners?
That's where the thematic approach comes in.
Okay.
The course, it focuses on vocabulary related to specific topics in each episode.
Okay.
So in the pilot, where Rachel is navigating being single and independent for the first time.
Right.
You might learn words like fiance, wedding, single, independent, maybe even runaway bride.
Huh. And it's not just about giving you like a list of words. You're seeing them in context, hearing how the characters use them, and even getting to use them yourself in exercises.
Exactly. It's like learning by osmosis.
Right.
You're absorbing the vocabulary naturally while enjoying the story.
Okay, but I have to ask, how you doing?
Oh, yes.
That's iconic, Joey. But it's also an idiom, right? Something that might not translate directly for someone learning English.
You're spot on.
Yeah.
And the course, it uses those kinds of catchphrases to introduce the idea of idioms.
Oh, okay.
Learners get to see that how you doing isn't just a question about your well-being.
Right.
It can be, a flirtatious greeting, depending on the context.
That's so important. Understanding those subtle meanings is what makes you sound more like a native speaker.
It's like you're cracking the code
Yeah.
of how people actually talk, not just textbook English.
All this talk about dialogue makes me think about pronunciation. Friends is full of like distinctive voices and accents.
But it is.
Does the course utilize that as well?
Absolutely. The course incorporates audio clips,
Oh.
allowing learners to hear those lines delivered with the characters' unique inflections and rhythms.
So you're not just learning like what to say. You're learning how to say it
Exactly.
with all the right like emphasis and tone.
Got it.
Yeah.
And imagine the fun learners could have practicing, like Chandler's sarcasm or Phoebe's quirky way of speaking.
Right.
It's about embracing the personality of the language.
I'm starting to think this course should come with a warning.
Mm.
May induce uncontrollable laughter
Oh, yeah.
and a sudden urge to move to New York City.
Well, maybe skip the moving part,
Yeah.
but the laughter is definitely encouraged.
Right.
But on a serious note,
Okay.
all this focus on speaking and pronunciation is great. But what about listening comprehension?
Oh.
How does the course help learners actually understand those fast-paced conversations?
That's a good point. Friends is full of like quick wit
Yeah.
and overlapping dialogue, which can be, challenging for anyone.
Oh, yeah.
Let alone, someone learning English.
Right, and that's why the course includes like targeted listening activities.
Okay.
Maybe you have to, listen to a scene and answer comprehension questions, focusing on key details.
Yeah.
Or you might try a dictation exercise, writing down exactly what you hear.
So you're really training your ear to pick up on those subtle nuances of spoken English.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's not just about, individual words.
Yeah.
It's about understanding the flow of the conversation.
Right.
The
Yeah.
pauses, the intonation.
It's like listening becomes an active skill,
Yes.
not just something you do in the background.
Precisely.
Mm.
And all of this, it culminates in the holy grail of language learning.
Let's talk about that. How does the course get learners to actually, open their mouths and practice speaking English?
Well, remember how we talked about like recreating scenes from the show?
Mm-hmm.
That's where it all comes together.
Okay.
The course includes like role-playing exercises,
Right. Yeah.
where learners get to step into the shoes of their favorite characters.
So you could be Rachel, like trying to figure out how to make coffee, or Chandler cracking a sarcastic joke.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a safe space to practice, pronunciation, fluency, and even nonverbal communication. Plus, it's just plain fun.
This is amazing. But wouldn't it be even better if you could, actually practice with other people? Like a real life Central Perk hangout.
Well, guess what? The course encourages that too.
Really?
It suggests, forming study groups, finding language partners, and even joining online communities to practice with other learners.
So you're not just learning English in like isolation?
Right.
You're connecting with others who share your passion for the language and the show. That's brilliant.
It's about building a community around learning, which can make the whole experience more motivating and enjoyable.
Right.
And let's not forget the power of just, immersing yourself in the world of Friends.
Yeah.
Watching the show outside of the course, listening to podcasts about it, even reading fan fiction.
Okay.
Can all, contribute to your learning.
So it's like the learning never really stops.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The more you engage with the language and the culture, the more you'll naturally absorb and internalize it.
Right.
And who knows, you might even find yourself quoting Chandler in your everyday conversations.
Will this be any more awesome?
Yeah.
I think we both know the answer to that one.
Yeah.
But all this talk about individual language skills has me wondering.
Yeah.
Does the course ever address the bigger picture, like understanding American culture as a whole?
It absolutely does. Remember, Friends isn't just a sitcom.
Right.
It's a reflection of American culture in the 90s and early 2000s. Yeah. The course delves into topics like, dating norms, social etiquette, workplace dynamics, even pop culture references that might go over the heads of non-native speakers.
So it's like getting a crash course in American life.
Yes.
All through the lens of this beloved show.
Precisely. And it goes beyond just, explaining these concepts. It encourages learners to think critically about them.
Okay, I'm really curious about that.
Yeah.
How do they encourage critical thinking about something like dating norms, for example?
Well, imagine a discussion prompt asking you to compare the dating dynamics in Friends to those in your own culture.
Okay.
Or maybe you're asked to analyze whether the characters' approaches to dating are healthy or problematic.
That's so interesting. You're not just learning facts.
Right.
You're being, challenged to think about them from different angles.
Yes.
And form your own opinions.
Exactly. It's about moving beyond, passive consumption.
Right.
And engaging with the material on a deeper level.
It's like the show becomes a tool for self-reflection.
Yeah.
And cultural understanding.
And that's what makes this approach so brilliant.
Right.
It's not just about learning English.
Right.
It's about using language as a bridge to connect with another culture and with yourself.
Wow. I'm truly blown away by how much thought and care has gone into this Friends English course.
Yeah.
It's more than just a language course.
It is.
It's a cultural journey.
It really, and it makes you wonder what other possibilities are out there. What other beloved shows or movies could be used to unlock new worlds of learning?
That's a fantastic question. I I think we've only scratched the surface
Yeah.
of what's possible
Right.
when we combine entertainment with education.
And the best part is this approach makes learning feel less like a chore
Right.
and more like, well, catching up with old friends.
Yeah, it's amazing how this Friends English course like manages to be both, entertaining
Sure.
and educational at the same time.
It really does. It highlights the power of combining something we enjoy, like a beloved TV show
Right.
with something that we want to learn.
I mean, who wouldn't want to spend, their study time like hanging out at Central Perk, right?
Exactly. And the beauty of this approach is that it goes beyond, just teaching vocabulary and grammar.
Yeah, we've touched on this a bit, but
Yeah.
I'd love to like explore it further. How does this course actually foster like that deeper cultural understanding?
Well, think about how Friends portrays like everyday life in New York City.
Right, the apartments, the cafes, the quirky jobs, it's
Yeah.
it's like a snapshot of a specific time and place.
And the course uses those elements to explore broader cultural themes. For example, remember like how Rachel leaves Barry at the altar in the pilot episode.
Oh yeah, that's a pretty big cultural statement.
It is.
Especially in the context of the time.
Exactly. The course it could use that scene
Yeah.
to spark a discussion about marriage,
Mm-hmm.
expectations,
Okay.
and the evolving roles of women in society.
Yeah.
It's about using those seemingly, simple sitcom moments to kind of delve into deeper cultural issues.
So it's not just about understanding like what the characters are saying. It's about understanding the cultural context
Yes.
behind their actions and decisions.
Precisely. And by comparing those cultural norms to their own,
Yeah.
learners can gain a whole new perspective on the world.
It's like holding up a mirror to your
Sure.
own culture and seeing it reflected back in a different light.
And those aha moments,
Yeah.
those moments of cultural insight, those are often like the most powerful learning experience.
Yeah, it's making me think about all those times I've watched Friends and just like laughed along
Yeah.
without really, thinking about the deeper meaning behind the jokes.
And that's the beauty of this course.
Yeah.
It encourages you to watch with a critical eye,
Yeah.
to ask questions, to challenge your own assumptions.
It's almost like watching the show for the first time,
Right.
with a fresh perspective.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
and by engaging with the material on that deeper level,
Yeah.
the learning becomes more meaningful and memorable.
Right.
It's not just about memorizing facts. It's about expanding your worldview.
I think what's most impressive about this course is how it seamlessly, weaves together
Yeah.
language learning, cultural exploration, and critical thinking.
Yeah.
It's not just about learning English. It's about becoming a more informed and engaged like global citizen.
It's about empowering learners to connect with the world around them in a more meaningful way.
This has been such an eye-opening deep dive. It's made me realize that education doesn't have to be confined to textbooks and classrooms.
Learning can happen anywhere, anytime,
Mhm.
especially when it's infused with something we're passionate about.
Right.
Whether it's a TV show, a movie, a book, or even a video game.
Yeah.
There are countless ways to make learning fun and engaging.
I think we've only scratched the surface of what's possible when
Right.
we combine entertainment with education.
Imagine the possibilities. Learning history through historical dramas, exploring science concepts through documentaries.
Yeah.
Even mastering a new language through telenovela.
The potential is endless, and I think that's a perfect note to wrap up this deep dive on.
So to our listener, we leave you with this thought. What's your passion?
Yeah.
And how can you use it to unlock new worlds of knowledge?
Right.
Remember, learning should be an adventure, not a chore.
Yeah.
So go out there, explore, and have fun.
Happy learning, everyone.